Growing up, I always admired the jacked and ripped warriors in movies. So, like Brad Pitt from Troy, The Rock and Scorpion King, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And it was something that I had always dreamed of living up to, at least that ideal. But as I got older and, was continuing to go through school and the current education system that we have, the importance of health and fitness and, your physique seemed to be an afterthought. And I noticed that people always admired these figures and they all often had like a ton of popularity. And even the local people in my hometown that were jacked were always seen in like high regards if they had some sort of aesthetic appeal about them. But the emphasis in school and career advice seemed to only focus on IQ, overall intelligence. And so most people believe that success is solely a game of wits and intelligence. But what if I told you that neglecting your physique is a silent killer of your achievement potential and personal legacy as well as your reputation? Building an aesthetic body in your 20s and taking it into your 30s is not just beneficial for your health, but it is a moral obligation to yourself as well as a societal benefit. And there's a multitude of reasons as to why this is the case, ranging from the ancient Greeks to the Renaissance, and it's even deep-rooted in our very own psychology. In my opinion, having an aesthetic look is a modern-day cheat code, and we can be told all that we want. Never judge a book by its cover. But it still happens. I mean, think about it. When you meet someone, you immediately size them up in some capacity. If it's a dude, your initial split-second impression is based on how they are presenting themselves to you. Is he imposing? Is he confident and sure of himself? Does he look lazy and unharmful? And it may not be conscious, but how we present ourselves and the way that we look is deeply ingrained into who we are and the way that human society has evolved over thousands of years. And the first place that we can look is the ancient Greeks and their views of the human physique. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable of. That was a quote from Socrates. The ancient Greeks viewed physical excellence as a reflection of moral and intellectual virtue, emphasizing the interconnectedness of the physical, moral, and intellectual aspects in an individual's development. So Aristotle talked about the importance of holistic education that encompassed the body, mind, and soul for a balanced personal development route. He believed that excellence wasn't just an act, but a habit, emphasizing that consistent and deliberate actions are essential for achieving some level of virtue. And Aristotle also stressed that educating just the mind without educating the body is not true education. Focusing on the body is just as important as focusing on your mind when it comes to seeing what your full potential is. And we see the impact of this through the Olympics. They were formed in ancient Greece. The concept of progressive overload in training comes from the Greek athlete Milo of Croton. The ancient Greeks saw physical beauty as divine, and and they intertwined it with this concept known as, I think it's pronounced kalogathia, which basically was the merging of physical beauty and goodness into one single ideal. And so this highlighted the interconnectedness of physical appearance and moral excellence. So you can look at any popular Greek painting or work of art and see how they viewed an optimal and aesthetic human physique. These symbols, this look was divine. You were seen as being godlike. And because of this, the artistic representation of these physical aesthetics not only served as a form of admiration, but also as a means to inspire individuals to strive for excellence in all aspects of life. And the Olympics were not just about sports, but they also symbolized military training and prowess, reflecting the Greek belief that physical abilities determine survival and success. And today, especially in the age of social media, how we present ourselves to the world matters. Having an aesthetic look indicates some level of status. This isn't just about the Brad Pitt Fight Club look. This is about also being able to show it when you are wearing clothes so people can tell that you're jacked underneath. And this continued all the way up through the Renaissance. The human body is first and foremost a mirror to the soul, and its greatest beauty comes from that. The artistic revolution of the Renaissance showed the value, the beauty in an ideal physique. So all we have to look at is Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man and one of the greatest sculptures ever created, the statue of David created by Michelangelo. And these works of arts, they symbolized the beauty of the jacked human physique as being an ideal to live up to. Now at this time, the portrayal of idealized human forms in art could instill a sense of harmony, balance, and perfection in the minds of the people that were seeing it, which potentially would lead them to feelings of a desire for self-improvement. And I think this is what a lot of you also, you see. You see these kick-ass physiques. You look at whether it's professional bodybuilders or professional athletes, and there's something in you where you think, damn, I want that, because it's something to strive and live up to. And if you think about whenever you were young, watching Troy with Brad Pitt or seeing pictures of Arnold or watching Rocky, all these men gave us a sense of wanting to conquer and wanting to be that. And the closest thing that we can conquer that we know that is within our control is our body. And unfortunately, today there's a very large amount of society that has lost the connection and the beauty in these pursuits. People want to spout all about body positivity while slandering those who actually give a shit about their own physiques as being vain pursuits or being self-absorbed. But most people I know who are out of shape and are constantly talking about body positivity are miserable deep down because they wish they had the fortitude to achieve those looks, but they just haven't developed the character traits. But I do see a shift. I think younger generations are especially more cognizant of this, and they're wanting to strive for greater fitness levels. And sure, some of it might be egotistical, but it's also a form of modern day survival. Dudes want to look good for women. Women want to look good for dudes. And all in all, it's a win-win. And when we think about wanting to look good for other people, this is ingrained into our psychology. We have a bias known as the halo effect, which more or less says first impressions matter, especially within the first few seconds. And many cognitive biases that we have, we can use to our advantage. Because if you're aware of them, then on some level, you can know how to exploit them. Now, whether you use it to manipulate or you use it to influence is on you. I'm not here to discuss morality. But the halo effect is a bias where an individual's physical appearance influences your perceived character and abilities as being better than potentially what they actually are. So in career settings, a lot of people who possess attractive physical qualities may be seen as being more competent or intelligent, leading to potential biases in promotions or performance evaluations. And I personally feel like as my physique has improved, people take me a little bit more seriously out the gate, which makes it a lot easier to be able to set a proper first impression for a lot of people. And there's even studies that show that attractiveness can lead to higher grades in schools due to the halo effect, where perceived positive traits influence the judgments of teachers. What this means for you, and this is where it gets kind of cool, is personal confidence. Your personal confidence can be affected by the halo effect because it's kind of like a cycle. What happens is you look good. Therefore, you get positive feedback or judgments based on your specific traits, which in turn is going to cycle back through, increase your own self-esteem and confidence levels, and every single day you're going to attack the day and kick it in the dick. And so it's my belief that it is a moral obligation to try to have an aesthetic physique. And I don't think it's that difficult. It just takes time, and you have to develop the character trait of patience and discipline in order to get there. So we know that if you are not fat, you are going to generally be healthier, aside from certain genetic variables that we might be exposed to. And so I don't think it's ridiculous to say that you will be healthier and you will live longer if you have a better physique. But not only that, it is a powerful thing to But not only that, it is a powerful vehicle for self-actualization, to realize what you are capable of. So for me, powerlifting helped me realize that when you stick to something long enough, even with just complete blind faith, and you're just executing, you're just acting every single day, you will hit the goals that you have. It might take longer sometimes because it might not be as optimal, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to hit it. And it's going to hurt a lot, and it's going to be inconvenient. But by pushing through these challenges, you come out on the other side a little bit more calloused to all the bullshit that life's going to throw at you. And you learn the importance of maintaining a system and habits and how things compound over time. And you start to realize that getting results is predominantly about not quitting. And you have to keep reminding yourself that not everyone is willing to do this for a long enough period of time to see the results. So from what I've experienced so far, in terms of, building a body I'm proud of and being jacked, and even other things like making six figures in a sales job, it's just about doing things longer than other people are willing to. And that'll, in my opinion, I think that's what puts most people into the top 1% of society, is just doing something long enough to realize the result. And so when you achieve this and you continue to push after it, you also have to look at what benefits you are bringing to society. Some people might not like you, but a lot of other people are going to be inspired by you. Your own transformation can motivate and inspire people in your family or those closest to you to continue to pursue their own health and fitness goals. They will start coming to you, asking you questions. And whenever people see you as an expert, and you realize people see you as an expert, you are going to feel good about that because you know you have achieved something that other people want to achieve. And by doing this, you can also contribute to reducing the societal burden of healthcare. Because think about it, if every single person focused on looking good, becoming healthy would be a byproduct. And this is aside from the whole performance enhancing drugs conversation, but just in general, like if everybody did that, the amount of burden that would come off everybody else in society because of everything we have to put into the government to pay for healthcare and everything, it would dramatically reduce, and everybody's experience of life would be better. So by achieving an aesthetic look, it's more than just benefiting you, you are benefiting society. So how do we start to develop an attractive and aesthetic physique? So the first thing that you have to get right is your mindset. I know it sounds corny and everybody talks about mindset, but I'm not shitting you. Mindset is literally everything. You have to adopt a mindset where you are focused on being as good as you can every single day and constantly focusing on improving yourself. Every decision that you make in some capacity needs to be geared towards how am I improving myself today for the version of me tomorrow. And so one of the biggest strategies that I can give people in terms of consistency is, one, a lot of people will get started and they will, whenever they think about how many days a week they're going to train or go to the gym, they always start with the number that they want to. Most people are like, oh, I want to go to the gym 5 days a week. That's the wrong way to go about it. How many days a week can you actually stick to? Most people, I think 3 is very reasonable, and you need to start there. And it's going to feel slow, and you're going to be like, oh, but I'm not going to progress as fast. And yeah, you're right. You might not. But at the end of the day, 5 years is going to go by. Do you want to be in the same spot in 5 years, or do you want to be dramatically further ahead than where you are now? So that's the first step, is just setting the frame of, hey, expect this to take a little bit of time, and your whole goal is to just go consistently for as long as humanly possible. And you're going to have to make some lifestyle changes, and that's part of the process. And if you really need help with it, get a coach, find programs online. They're going to help. Now, what about the actual practical steps? So first, your diet and nutrition. 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein, 20% of your calories every day need to come from fats. Everything else can come from carbs, and you need to focus on hitting these numbers consistently within a set range. Next, you need to make sure that you have some form of a structured exercise program for the goal that you have. Now, if your goal is strictly aesthetics, then maybe look up a hypertrophy program. However, what I tend to find is a lot of beginners and people that are really starting on this route actually will benefit quite a bit from strength training, just because it's a little bit more objective to pursue. Strength training, you have numbers, you know exactly what you need to hit in the gym every single week, and you just progress from there. And honestly, if you get really strong, you will get relatively jacked as a byproduct. Now, after that, we can talk about hypertrophy training in terms of like a little bit more specificity, but for the most part, you just need a training program that gets you in the gym, like the foundation is progressive overload and just making things a little bit harder over time. If you are doing the same weight 6 months later for the same amount of reps, you are not growing, you are stagnating. And you need to make sure that every single set that you are taking is at least at a minimum within 5 reps of failure. Ideally, 3 to absolute failure. And then also, you have to make sure that you are resting and recovering properly. 7 to 9 hours of sleep, making sure you are staying hydrated throughout the day. Water is probably the single best hack that you can do. Your body's 70% water. I think it's going to run better if you actually give your body what it needs. And so after you have all of this down, you need to look at what community are you around? What support system do you have? Are you around a group of people that prioritize health and their fitness, or are you around a group of people that don't really give a shit about it and don't follow down that path? Now, this doesn't mean you have to alienate those people, but you do need to find a group of people that are very similar in that aspect. Because what's going to happen is you might find people that are on the same path as you. And whenever you are within a group of people that are also on the same path, it helps to stay consistent. Because when you think about it from a cognitive bias perspective, we want to belong to a part of a group, and we definitely don't want to be ostracized from a group. So if we get involved with a group of people that all are taking their fitness very seriously, and they take their lifestyles seriously to support those goals, you're not going to want to disappoint them, right? You're going to want to stay involved in the group, and you're definitely not going to want to be the person that holds the rest of the group back. And so that's a way that we can leverage these cognitive biases. And yeah, sometimes it's like you're not going to want to, it's not going to be comfortable, but at the end of it all, you're going to be thankful that you did. And those people are going to raise you up a hell of a lot higher than other people that will never, ever understand the things that you are trying to achieve. Some people might say it's ridiculous, but the right people are going to, they'd be like, yeah, it's ridiculous, but that's what we want. That's what we're going after. We are going after that ridiculousness, because that is what separates the 1% from the 99% of other people. And so joining groups and having friends that will hold you accountable is such a big factor here. And I think that is the single most important thing for me growing up in athletics. And then as I became part of a powerlifting team, and then my social circle, I do have a lot of people that take fitness very seriously. So it makes it that much easier for me to maintain my lifestyle, because also, socially speaking, you can hang out with friends at the gym, and it's just as fun as going by yourself or whatever. So big part, find community, get support. So to wrap up, society has always, on some level, at least in the moral aspect, has seen building an aesthetic physique as being virtuous. And I don't think it's wrong for you to want that. I think it's wrong if you want that and don't do anything about it. So work hard, improve yourself, improve your physique, get to looking good, and tell me that your life does not get significantly better. And I would love to hear back from you in about 2 years after you implement this entire time, and tell me that none of it worked for you. All right. But other than that, till next time,